Now the next stage of the Dinky Dino build is mounting and cutting out the first base plate. Now I've designed some supports for the base plate to fit on the front and rear bumper mounts, and here's the first one printed. That's why you can hear the printer. The second one's printing at the moment. There's 3 holes to screw down with M3 screws from the top, and you can see 2 hex holes. I managed to work out how to do it, and what I did was I started with some test ones. That one was a little bit too small, but the size I found across the hex to size it was to size it for M3 nuts, the little ones, was 6.3mm across here, you see, and then depth the hole to just enough, and they're a real nice tight fit. So I've now got a measurement. I can use 6.3 to record, which I need to start writing down useful measurements. So the bar is, I've started off, hopefully this is deep enough because it's mounted onto the bumper mounts, but it's 10mm by 10mm, and it's 150mm long, so it's got good support across the front and rear. There's going to have to be more supports on the side, but this is once this will be done once these are fitted and screwed on. So let's get the car up. I've already done some pre-test on the bolts, so I know they fit. Well, they're long, they're sort of about the right length, which is the important thing. Because I've got to pass through this bracket and go up. The one thing is I can't go super mag because there's a hole in the bracket, but last resort I can always make an insert that can go in so you can tighten down harder, but being truthful, it's not going to be needed. Like I said, it's got captive nuts, and that should be more than plenty. The thing is, when you're making these things, measure and measure and measure and measure, because I know these holes are 43mm across, and that's where the holes are designed to. See, there we go, the 2 bolts are up, so there'll be four out from the ends, and then whatever I decide to do on the sides, because I've got to make allowances for the engine, so I've got to make a bracket to sit out, which I'll probably do first with a clearance and use the original screws, longer screws, into these, and then mount through these middle holes, which I've got extra. So I've got to find different screws for that, and hopefully I've got stuff to suit. Now we've got to try and get these bolts to fit, and like I said, these are a real good tight fit, so I'm going to put them on the screw and push them into place. When I said they're a tight fit, they are really, really tight. So what I'm going to do is see if I've got a shorter screw so I can just pull them into place. Will that reach? Maybe. Too short. Screw box. Yeah, I want to pull them in to make sure they fit. They should do, because I measured and made the hole deeper than. And there you go, they just literally fit below the surface. So that's nice and easy. But the good thing is, being such a tight fit, they're not going to come loose at any time. You know, they shouldn't spin at all or anything. The only thing is when I fit these to the baseboard I've got to measure really carefully. There we go. Let's try fitting the first one, which was not going to be easy because it's always harder on camera. Let's see how these line up. Well, you can't see. We've got them going in. And I don't think I could get any better with the screws. They literally fit right to the top of those nuts. But give you a rough idea with the see now it sits on. We've got like a gonna have to limit the suspension travel somehow. But it's still gonna have quite a bit of movement. So that's not too bad at all. Try it on a turn. Yeah, it's no different because it's flat. It is literally just putting a limiter on there. So I think we got our height. 10mm weren't a bad guess. And let's move on to doing the base plate. Now I've cut out the baseboard and I've marked up all the holes from the cardboard. And now I've got to spend quite some time carefully cutting and splitting out the plastic because you don't want to distort this too much before we reinforce it. So it is quite flexible at the moment. And you can see it's a large piece of plastic, the first piece. So I'm going to get on with cutting it out. I'll be taking me time because it is it's going to take a while to get this all cut carefully. There we go, I got there in the end. The holes are cut out. When you cut out, mark around the edge well and multiple score, I find, and then I do crisscrosses, and then I do an inner line just within to the final edge, so you can break out nearly all the way to the edge and then you break out the final part. And it's a trial and error thing, you learn as you do it, but they're not badly shaped, they're accurate. So now I've got to work out how to mount it, mark out the chassis. See, it fits on fine, but I want it to butt up there at the front. See, it's perfect on the motor. And then I'm going to sort of fix it on, but it's these measurements are going to be, you've got to sort of mark from underneath and then take the block off, measure it and fit it. So I've got to really take my time with that, getting these 3 holes drilled correctly and getting it screwed on. Then I'll do the rear the same, and that'll be the base completed. There we go, the base is done. The only thing I've got to do is this side support to make it, we've got to make it squarer. When the body on top is welded on, that'll make a difference, because to get it to inside, the roof is going to be removable and this section will unscrew to get below the gun turret mount. But it shows making the cardboard template, taking the time, marking up the front one first and then doing the rear. We've got it pretty accurate. It's like, well, it's spot on actually, to what we need. The only thing I have done is I've raised it up a little bit. I put 2mm plastic between the mounts and the base just to raise it up just that fraction more. So that completes this stage. Just getting the base done has taken hours, but the more time you spend now, the hopefully it's squarer later on. But it's not exactly square, this plastic is slightly off, So it's as square as I could get it.